Hey guys, it's Mathel here once again, and for the last build of the league I've been working on, it happens to be Stormbind. It's a skill that I kinda really didn't want to play after messing around with it just for a little bit, with a bit of testing and stuff, and I was like, fuck, no thanks. But over and over again, people have asked for me to make Stormbind because obviously it's a painful experience, and surely it's not that good. Turns out it's not too bad. You can actually play it, you can get some positives out of it. If you were to say, is it purely a bad skill? I don't think you could answer yes to that because it does have some redeeming qualities. For example, lots of damage. With the right wind-up, with some good preparation and stuff, it can do some serious burst damage, and for plenty of these bosses that we come across that give you time to set up and stuff like that, you can just about one-shot them. Just about. With various, I guess, different buffs and various different ways of building the character, you definitely can one-shot them, as some other people have made examples of, but I tried to just make a pretty regular self-cast character. In this version, it's an occultist with full lightning to cold conversion, so we port around with lightning warp, which is what the big skull MTX is, and drop some orb of storms for cursing, and then wind up a two-step process for Stormbind. So it is a bit clumsy throughout the game. You do your best to increase your cast speed and your mana cost so that you can get the runes out quickly, and then also make upgraded versions of those pretty quickly too. But it never really stops being terribly clumsy. It just takes a while to get used to, and it takes a while to actually sort of learn the mechanic, I suppose, because only by around level 91, around level 90 even, when I was doing tier 15, tier 16 maps, is when I started to feel somewhat comfortable with the skill, having played it for like 10 hours. It just took a goddamn while to like really get in tune with it, and even then I still mess it up quite routinely and sometimes press the channel when I mean to like place runes down. So it is just weird, it's different, it's hard to get used to, but once you do, it's pretty decent skill. It's got good area coverage if you spec into some area, it's got really good burst damage, and it's a bit of a funky mechanic way of playing because, as you can see, I'm low life, and I do have quite a lot of mana unreserved so that I can wear my ivory tower, not die to chaos damage instantly, and also channel with Voidbringer gloves while making my mana cost quite high on the skill, something like 60 mana per channel, and that depletes it real quick if you don't have a mana flask going off. But that does mean that we can get the max rune value up really quickly, and every single boss that we come across gets completely one-shot, except for the Conquerors, which take 2 shots, and then Sirus that takes a few more shots. And if you mess it up and have a bit of a clumsy rotation, it can definitely get you in trouble, and it can definitely be pretty sketchy. But overall, I didn't absolutely hate the skill. It just takes a while to get used to. The very first time you put it on at level 28, you're going to be like, what the fuck is this shit? And probably throw it away and never touch it again. But if you commit into it, if you play plenty of it, get used to it, build into cast speed, build into some damage, some defense, some mana, overall it ends up being somewhat of a playable skill. I'm not sure I could really recommend it because, like I said, it took a while to learn, it took a while to properly enjoy, and I know most people are not going to be into that sort of thing. They really truly just want a nice smooth skill that scales well and is nice and playable, and this ain't it. This one's going to take you some work, and I know plenty of people do like a totem setup where they can have their Stormbind just make runes with totem and stuff, but that didn't seem necessary to me. I could always make my own stuff whenever I needed on demand, and as you can see, the burst is incredibly large. It was pretty damn efficient for cleaning up harvest packs. All of these tier 2s, tier 3s were just dying in one good boof because the idea is that you get your runes and your explosions to overlap, and on plenty of cases you can get 9 big explosions to overlap, sometimes even more, but ideally you're getting at least 9 attacks to overlap at once, which is quite a lot of damage. since it already hits for pretty much like a normal spell amount per single rune. And then you also charge them up, and that does even more damage. So the burst is quite insane in this scenario, but it just forces you to kind of stand still sometimes and do a two-step process, which can be clumsy, and forget what you're doing from time to time. And the other thing is doing the channel, doing the two-step process, while also mashing all your flasks gets just hard. It's hard. I don't know how else to explain it, because I mess it up plenty and I feel like I could do better. And yet, I'm still not quite there. But it took a while, and I think I'm a lot better than I originally was. So in any case, I want to jump into how I built the character, what it looks like at the moment, and then also leave you with the Sirus kill, which wasn't too bad, but still has its challenges. So here is my character, currently level 92, called STFU, already did Stormbind. I get asked a lot about certain builds and certain skills, and I'm always like, I've already done that one, I've already done that one, etc. So yeah, just saving some time on this one. For the future, it'll be like the Occultist, right? So it's an Occultist, and what can I say? It is built pretty traditionally, I think. A lot of people will ask, why Occultist for spells? Because it's not super traditional, I suppose, but I've built plenty of lightning-based occultists that do cold conversion, or occultists that do full conversions into stuff, and it feels pretty good because you do get power charge scaling for area and spell damage, additional power charge. You can get the -20 cold, -20 chaos, so cold conversion or in Eternity Shroud builds, that's pretty good. But then you also get really potent curses. Typically, each occultist I play has 2 or 3 curses. In this case, 3, because we get to utilize Assassin Mark, Ellie Weakness, and Conductivity, and you'll always be cursing just about every target in the game, so that feels really good as well. So that's why Occultist, it's kind of a bit of a jack of all trades sort of thing, and I think it feels good to play these anyway. So we're based around a lightning spell to begin with, which is called Stormbind. Now it does have a 2-step process, so if you are unfamiliar with it, what you have to do to begin with is place some runes on the ground and then channel mana into them to upgrade the runes. They have several different phases. The more upgraded they are, the more damage and area they will deal. So it looks typically like this. That's placing runes all over the ground. And here you go, we're channeling, and it's fully upgraded. You can see the difference between the upgraded and the non-upgraded version. And currently my Stormbind does seem to be somewhat bugged in that it's replaying its graphic at the end a second time. So don't know what's up with that, but that is largely why I used the microtransaction for a lot of the character. It's gore, some sort of blood vessel type thing, charge those up, and then it does all of this. So the reason we're using these gloves is so that our channel can upgrade a lot quicker, because the channel takes a lot more mana with these gloves, and the faster you upgrade these things, the better, or the more mana you put in, the faster you upgrade, the better. So I think if I can just take them off, you should be able to see that it takes a little bit longer to upgrade these runes, and in plenty of boss fights or situations, you'd rather do it rather instantly. So that's why we use these gloves, and you can build much heavier into mana than this. For example, like a Hierophant with lots and lots of mana, maybe an Indigon, etc. But I think this is totally fine the way I've done it, and just kind of relying heavily on a mana flask to keep me alive. So that's what's happening with the skill. Hopefully you can appreciate that it's just a 2-step process, and a lot of the time you don't need to really wind up anything too big. Like for most trash packs, it just, you have to do this and this, this, and it'll blow things up real quick. But for plenty of other trash packs, you can just drop an Orb of Storms, and that should do decent damage. But my Orb of Storms currently is mostly just utility, so it has Orb of Storms attached to Curse on Hit, all 3 of my curses, and then Arcane Surge. So it keeps Arcane Surge up pretty reliably, but that's kind of a waste because I am using Arcane Surge full time in the Stormbind. And the Stormbind here has attached to it, most of the time it's actually Awakened Increased Area. I map with that just about always, because the more area you have, the better overlap on the rune explosions you have. I then have Infused Channeling, Added Lightning, which is Awakened, Arcane Surge, and Hypothermia. And it's using an ivory tower, so that's similar to a Shav's, but in this case, you do need to up your chaos res a bit and have some unreserved mana. So overall, it should give you more energy shield, but it's a little bit harder to build around. That's why I have a whole bunch of unreserved mana, and that's why I've also built a bit easier into mana. I then use a staff that I crafted. Once again, harvest, thank you very much. So a lot of this gear, probably not as easy without harvest. So I don't know if you ever really want to do a build like this ever again, maybe with void batteries or some shit. But yeah, this was simple as fuck with harvest. Will be a lot harder next league, but I just built it around the spell damage and then you know, augmented, removed until we got what we wanted, and some of it's really easy to guarantee, but harvest is over, so there's no real need to go over that. But that's our little stuff. Using 2 Call of the Brotherhoods, if you catalyze them, you can get 48% conversion, so we're almost fully converted to cold. Using the Voidbringers, some Tailwind Boots, bunch of resists on a belt, amulet with some crit multi% ES and a lot of stats, and then a helm with ES and a bunch of resists. Reservation-wise, using Discipline and Clarity attached to Blood Magic, so that makes us low life at all times. And you try and reserve as much life as possible so that Ivory Tower feels good. And then I've just got a Herald of Ice chilling. And I'm using a Lightning Warp as my travel skill. Lightning Warp loves less duration and reduced duration, so you want to level it up, get some quality, use faster casting, less duration, and swift affliction. And it's definitely worth looking into because it's the first time I've used Lightning Warp since they've really changed it a while back, and it actually feels pretty damn fast now. Very comparable to Flame Dash, that sort of thing. If you get enough attack speed, cast speed, and you can even get a Lightning Warp helm enchant that reduces duration even further. I'm going to look into something with that myself as well, but it seems pretty worth doing at this point. As far as passive tree is concerned, we are an occultist, we are low life, so we grab Pain Attunement, grab a whole bunch of int and some mana nodes. We have an intuitive leap here that lets us get staff node, mana node, power charge doesn't do anything there, and a few mana nodes, power charge nodes, cold damage nodes, using a medium cluster here just for a bit more area as power charge, using a big amount of chaos res here because I couldn't fit it in anywhere else in the gear. Really decent harvest craft, crit multi jewels, as you can always expect, and 1 thread of hope here to give us glancing blows, a few other things, and all these staff nodes. So we're almost capped on block. And we'll have to wait and see what happens with the patch notes. I imagine some shit's getting changed. Maybe Glancing Blows is going to be moved somewhere. Maybe it won't be quite as potent. Harvest won't be as easy. So just about any build right now that was played in Harvest might be a little bit questionable for the future based on the patch notes. And I'm kind of liking this MTX setup. First time I've ever really used this chest from a while back, supporter pack. So it's Eternal Damnation, using the Itziri horns that I had from Ambush, with Glowing Red Eyes, Bandana, using Demonic Weapon effect, Blood Knight, Wings, and Demonic Aura. That's from mystery boxes as well. Pretty clean setup, and then a lot of the time we are Arcane Cloaked as well, which hardly does anything, but I just use it on left click, and it sometimes will prevent a bit of damage taken and make us look blue and stuff. So I'll leave you guys with a Sirus kill. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Hope you enjoyed my little look into Stormbind. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Not sure I can set up the kill too cleanly once again. Just gotta remember what the fuck I'm doing, right? I can't port twice, you fucking nerd. That was a pretty big crit, wasn't it? Like, I'm more capped on res today than I was yesterday. And I did not get hit that hard yesterday. So it was just a big hit. Rather unlucky. Up. Dude, why is he porting twice like that? 3 times? I don't even know where he is. Sirus is not going well at all. I just then oomed myself, so I can't press flask next time. I want to make sure I've got plenty of flask for the last phase. Is gonna make things awkward, I think. Up. Still alive? Sure? Yep, good, good, good. That's good. So I'm not gonna blow my load at the very start. Okay. I'll wait until a phase or 2 or something. And Lightning Warp is so convenient for like dodging shit. Actually lets you pinpoint very nicely. If I'm allowed to go in. Yeah, kinda. They just fucking freeze him? Is that legal? Yeah, that went much better than yesterday in the end. There was one good chunk where he almost fucking died. Overall, clumsy as fuck. But, yeah, not bad. Oh, perfect Doriani's Thread of Hope.